Everybody talks about the squat, and some people have some fears around doing the squat. This is to help to break those fears away and just explain again how every squat has a purpose and every variation will have a different effect on that person doing. There is no bad movement, and remember, all movements are low tolerant movements, so therefore you have to take your time to build up that tolerance in that movement in order to get really good at it, which just means don't rush with the heaviest weight right away. Build up to heavier weights over time. So when we break down the squat, all the squat is very easily is you're starting from a standing position and then you're lowering yourself down to the ground and coming back up. It's literally that simple. Everybody wants to make these emphasis on what to focus on, but each person is unique. Each person has a different anthropology. Your bones are all shaped differently. So you can find a unique way for yourself to be able to squat. There is no right or wrong as long as you're able to move in and out of that position from a tall standing position to a lowering and coming back up squat position with no pain. And that's the goal for everybody. So going over these variations of squat, if we're looking at your normal air squat, which just means a squat with no external resistance, you're going to lower yourself down and you can use your arms as a counterbalance to help give yourself an easier time up and down. So an air squat is just my arms reaching forward as my body is lowering down and coming back up. And again, all my joints are allowed to move. My knees are going over my ankles, my hips are lowering down to the ground. I'm just going as safely and comfortably as I can, up and down. If you want to challenge that, and you want to start working towards a Olympic lifting position, you can do a prisoner squat, where you just take your hands and interlace it behind your head. And that'll help you to stay a little bit more upright as you're going up and down in your squat. So again, keeping in this prisoner position, you can see I'm not reaching as far forward, so my hips are able to go a little bit more vertical down. And then from there, if you want to progress, we have a goblet squat. And with that goblet squat, same idea as the prisoner squat. You're just asking to stay a little bit more vertical, and you're keeping that weight closer to your body to make that leverage a lot easier for you to control. So one of the safer progressions from your squats is just to pick up a weight, hold it close, squat down, and then coming back up. So a goblet squat, like your prisoner squat, just asks for you to be up more upright, and you're going to take that weight and hold it in front of you to again have a little bit more external resistance. If we progress from there, you go to a barbell squat, and with that barbell squat, you have two variations with your normal back squat. We can do a high bar or a low bar squat. So starting with your low bar squat, it's your powerlifting squat. You want to take the barbell and have it resting along your shoulder blades. And the goal with a powerlifting squat is more of a hip drive than it is a lowering all the way down to the floor. So here we're going to have less range of motion than you would of a high bar, but you're going to have more hip range of motion than you would in a high bar. So that barbell is against my shoulder blades, and I'm just trying to drive my hips back, keeping my knees over my ankles as best as possible, and then coming back up. So again, tightening up, and I'm just driving my hips all the way back to lower myself down, and then coming back up. If I wanted to get into a high bar back squat is like your goblet squat, it's like your front squat. You're going to be upright, more vertical, and the weight is going to be resting on top of your shoulders as opposed to your shoulder blades. So with it on top of your shoulders, you don't have to drive your hips as far back. You're just going to come straight down and then back up. All right. That could be a precursor to your Olympic lifts, but that squat variation is just asking you to stay more vertical. Now, if you wanted to progress that weight, and like the goblet squat, you can have that weight in front of you. We have your good old-fashioned front squat, and that is just where the bar is resting on your shoulders. You have your elbows up high, and we're just trying to, again, sink, and then come back up. And then, with that variation, with that weight being in front of you, it does put more emphasis on the front of those hips, as opposed to your low bar back squat, which puts more emphasis on the back of your hips. And if you wanted a more of a challenge from that front squat, we can actually go into a zercher, which is where you're holding that weight now in your elbows, keeping that weight closer. But because that weight is lower than it was in the front squat, your body has to work harder to keep it upright. So squatting is good for everybody. Just got to remember there's a way to lower your hips to the ground, and there's a way to come out of that, and there's all different varieties. So just finding what works best for you right now and progressing to the next hardest position.